was done at point of order, and for the second time, the ruling that was made was clear that if you feel like you don't want to be part of this sitting, honorable member, you are more than welcome to excuse us. Thank you, honorable member. Honorable Masite, you may continue. Honorable Masite, you may sit down. There's a point of order. Yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, fellow honorable member has raised a very important point that we should consider to stop this process.
What is your point of order?
I'm moving with
What is your point of order? Honorable member, what is your point of order?
Speaker, we must cancel this.
You may sit down. You may sit down, honorable member. You may sit down. Honorable member, you may sit down. You may sit down. You may sit down, honorable member. No. Honorable member. No, Sergeant, no. You will sit down, honorable member. You will sit down. Sergeant at Arms. If we may be assisted with Sergeant of Arms, because we're not going to have this, honorable member. Honorable members, we don't have this. The ruling was made on that point of order, and I did it for 2 times already. For the 3rd time, if you feel you don't want to be part of this city, honorable member, you should just excuse us. It is simple as that. We're not going to collapse this sitting because you feel that it must be collapsed. That is not going to happen, honorable members. And if you continue raising this point of orders on the rulings that we have made, honorable members, then we will assist you to be removed. Honorable member, sit down. Honorable member, sit down. Honorable member, you may take a seat. Thank you. Honorable members, we're not going to have this behavior. That was not a point of order. And honorable member, you have this thing of saying you are raising point of orders, and you come here, you don't raise point of orders. Maybe as a way of public participation and the legislature moving forward, before these sittings are held, there must be educational programs to assist people who are going to form part of provincial legislature, youth parliament, on what is a point of order, what is point of information, what is point of correction. Because we can't be having such points raised. You cannot say you are raising a point of order and you are coming here with a debate. Really now, honorable members. I saw hands, honorable members. That was not a point of order, that was a debate. If you say you are raising a point of order, then you give your point of order, you don't come with a debate. Honorable Masite, you may continue. Honorable members, order. Honorable member Masite.
As the ANC,
Honorable Masite, honorable members, I'm the presiding officer here. And as such, I don't think I ever asked for assistance. I can see when their hands are raised, and as such, I shall recognize them. And if there is if I need an assistance, I have a co-chair here who's more than willing and very effective to assist me if their hands are raised. You may lower your hand, honorable member. You are not noted. Honorable Masite, you may take to the podium.
As the ANC, we support and endorse the Free State Provincial Youth Parliament report analysis, while we acknowledge that a lot still needs to be addressed based on unemployment, poverty and inequality, drugs, gender-based violence and crime, lack of skills.
Honorable Masite, the time is up.
Thank you.
members, there's no need when the time is up, and I said I'm the presiding officer here. There's time there on the screen there on the wall. I can see clearly, honorable members. No one is talking to you now at the back. So I can tell when the time is up, and I'll inform the speaker on the podium to take their seat. Honorable member, which state is the only one, I believe? Honorable Masite, not be threatening other members in the House. May you kindly withdraw that you are going to deal with other members.
Mr. Speaker, I was there addressing issues of young people. I never threatened any member. Therefore, I cannot withdraw what I said.
Honorable Mhapi feels threatened by you, Honorable Masite. I don't know what she said to him, but Honorable Mhapi, Honorable Masite says he didn't threaten you. Honorable Mhapi, Honorable Masite, this matter will be dealt with by the leaders of the delegation. Can we please stop threatening other members if such is happening? We're not going to deal with anyone here. We're discussing issues of young people, honorable members. And I was hoping that, and I'm hopeful that all of us are taking this session as serious as it is. So thank you. No, honorable member, I'm not going to note you. Honorable member, I just made a... Were you not listening to me, honorable member? Were you not listening? Okay, thank you very much. Moving with our program, honorable members, we are going to call on to the podium Honorable Boua, and I hope I'm pronouncing the surname correctly, from the DA to... apologies, honorable members. We are going to call on Honorable Mdingani from the Economic Freedom Fighters.
To the Honorable Speaker, Nganga Nzibazayo, I am Sisanda Mdingani. I am a member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Mine is going to be short and precise. Being a woman in South Africa makes it very difficult for one to survive. As a woman, we fight almost everything in this lifetime. If not for our lives, it is equal opportunities and benefits as men, patriarchy and sexism. Let us take note that over the past 20 years, women get exposed to suffering and got suffering to the neoliberal reality. The cruelty of triple oppression that is based on race, class, and gender, in particular black women, have yet not been dismantled. When patriarchy and sexism are at its peak in our societies, as the EFF, we realize that young black women become at the firing line of gender-based violence. For instance, in Free State, Mangaung at Base Water, a 69-year-old woman was found.
Honorable Divet, let me just caution you again. I said when you have a point of order, you raise your hand and I will note you. Is that a point of order?
Yes.
On what the speaker is saying?
Yes.
All right.
Speaker, can a member take a question?
Honorable Mdingani, can you take a question?
I think. No, I think the question was directed to you. It's your house, you can make the ruling. Thank you.
No, I don't think we are going to allow you to ask that question, Honorable Divet. Honorable Mdingani, you may continue.
As I was saying, that when patriarchy and sexism are at its peak in our societies, as the in her house, and in communities and institutions of higher learning, young women are victims of rape, and institutional management will protect their reputation at the expense of victims, which after it leads to secondary victimization. Free State as a province fails to give all the necessary support to the victims of gender-based violence. And the social department admitted that indeed there is a shortage of shelter for gender-based violence in the province at large. As the EFF would therefore propose that there should be a safe house for the victims of gender-based violence. This actually proves that there is no sense of urgency coming to the matters of gender-based violence in the province, taking the slow process for justice to take its course. As the EFF, ours is to resolve that the liberation of women should happen in different ways of interventions. For instance, women should be prioritized when it comes to the economic emancipation benefits on a provincial level and of course nationwide. Women in South Africa are economically vulnerable and there are high rates of unemployment and poverty. As women, educated we are, till today, under the so-called democracy and freedom fought so hard by our fallen heroes and heroines of the African National Congress, we still fight for equal opportunities and gender balance when coming to the sector of the economy. Unemployment by industry and gender in Free State, less women, about 345,000 were employed than men. There were 358,000 across all industries. Despite this, the employment gender gap in the province narrowing. However, women are still relatively scarce within the male-dominated industries such as mining, construction, and transport. As the EFF, we want the liberation of women to be promoted and protected with close monitoring towards the implementation in order. We, as women, we are going to pilot a woman-piloted PEPELA and needs to be fill up every position necessary. As the EFF, we believe that there should be 50% representation in all aspects of economic benefit, political participation, and so forth. Looking at the level of unemployment rate in the province, which leads to the worsening of socio-economic issues like poverty and crime that are already in existence. The Free State official unemployment rate grew by 2.2% points in 2022, 35.6% in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dingani. Hopefully going forward there won't be any point of orders when other speakers are also speaking. We are going to have our next speaker from the TA, Honorable Boa, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing your surname incorrectly.
Good morning, everybody. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Speaker of the Free State, members of the provincial legislature, our MECs that are still here, I see a few of them, and my fellow brothers and sisters. I hope that our MEC, Honorable Brown, was still here to hear that she said there's a lack of communication, where we as youth would say that yes, there is indeed. Because if I look around here, it's only us participating in this country here. If you go on TikTok now, you can see a hashtag Amapiano. Why is the hashtag Future Parliament? I'm not saying youth, because when we say youth, we see each other as young ones and we're being suppressed as we were suppressed yesterday. But I want to say that we are the future. That's why I say we're the future Parliament of the Free State. I don't see it trending on TikTok or on Facebook. And I wish there was better communication there all. But let me start. I'm going to emphasize more on the educational sector. What I feel the education in the Free State has let us down as a province. Punctuality at first, at hand here, we see that we're working on time here. It says a lot about what people think about the youth, or the young, or the future of the Free State. It has never taken place, or I've never seen it taking place in Parliament or any national body, where we're not even punctual with this. Look at the time, look at the progress, we're not on time. And yes, my fellow brothers and sisters, and elders yesterday, I note that yes, some of my brothers and sisters also been late. However, where have you been? We've been sitting here, we've been waiting. And from 1976, I hear people saying that we're raising the voice of the youth. I don't think there's a fight anymore. We can't be fighting to be heard anymore. We have to implement the same program in front of you guys. From 2021, there's a number of resolutions, but if you look at the right hand side, there's a number outstanding to this process. I'm standing here as Honorable Councillor Bowen from the DA. Yes, I'm young, yes, I'm a councillor, yes, I'm going to push forward this country. As I start, I want to
the lack of infrastructure for high schools and primaries is issue of enemy. Historical debt, which are a form of constraints in terms of the economic activities and mobilization of young people. A colonized curriculum that is implemented in the current educational system. Racism that should be addressed in schools, students, and universities. Lack of job opportunities as SSS. The curriculum must be decolonized, honorable members. That is one sense of the EFF that cannot shy away from. As the EFF will always provide a decisive and a clear direction. Here are the resolutions that we find necessary for this house to take forward. The direct instruction of public institution to do away with historical debt for students who are studying in higher institutions, Tibet, and universities. In conclusion, honorable members, we are pleading with this house to be relevant to the we are contesting for superior. We are very much decisive in terms of the movement of the progress and we need a very fund students. Because we are spending here at CUT with a number of students that have used this pattern from a long time ago, and they have never, they are free of it. It's like that. Even if the honorable member agreed.
Honorable member, there's a point of order. Honorable Masike.
Thank you, Speaker. The honorable member there says that the premier must ensure that she fights students. I'm not sure if he understood what he meant by fighting students. Can the honorable member withdraw that? Because the premier, the responsibility of the premier is to ensure that she assists students, not to fight students. I thank you.
The failings of national government to build enough adequate student housing on campus. Speaker, with the failings of the national government to build enough adequate student housings on campus, students are faced with the option of off-campus accommodation, which brought more issues instead of solutions. Those issues being those of safety of students, landlord catering for students in unpleasant manners, students living under unsatisfactory conditions, and all of this could have been avoided had there been proper attention paid to students. Speaker, as the Democratic Alliance student organization, we ask the provincial government to take buildings owned by the various departments which are not in use to be converted into student accommodation. This can assist the lack of enough quality accommodation and potentially create a stream of income for the province. We further ask for the province to subsidize student accommodation housing to assist students with the high cost of living and the unnecessary high cost of leasing and off-campus private accommodation. The province should be willing to work with young people who are in property development to patch the gaps in the market through SMMEs, fundings, and subsidies. This is simply because who knows the youth better than young people themselves? We ask for a functional housing tribunal to be easily accessible by the members of public. We need an office that we as students can run to when we need to hold landlords accountable as well as stakeholders. Speaker, we unfortunately have students who are either facing potential deregistration or are deregistered due to financial issues simply because NSFAS failed to do its administration work. Wrongfully N+ affected students always voice their frustration, but deaf ears are the only place we could say these cries are falling on. Simply, the province is failing to protect its own future. It is claimed that more than a billion rands was spent on bursaries and stipends for over 5 years. That is roughly 250 million per year. Yet there's nothing to actually show for such spending by the province. The Premier's bursaries is praised as the White House of the province. I simply say it's a disgrace for the youth of 1976 and the youth of Fees Must Fall. It is a bursary that is limited to a special few who knows the right corners to stand on, the right doors to knock on, and which people to have in the phone directory. Simply, you have to have a connection in order to even know about the bursary. Madam Chair, is this the democracy which we are living in? The top 100 students of the province are unfortunately subject to disappointment like the rest of the province. With no one to account for the issues they face with regards to finances, empty promises is what we can say the Free State provincial government is known for. Speaker, transparency is key in gaining trust of the public. This is how the MEC of Finance should run her office. We ask for a centralized application system that the youth of the province can use to apply for the likes of the Premier's bursary. We need a system that is free for all. As we all know that access to gadgets and internet access is a problem for some, if not most of youth in the Free State. The limitations are being placed on many youth who come from poor backgrounds. The system needs to be designed to an extent that children from rural areas like the Muruto Trust and Nyakalung get access to such information. In my closing remarks, the Office of the Premiers also needs to appoint a delegate to go out and seek part of the youth, educate them on the opportunities which are presented by this very Free State province. It is quite clear that the youth are not catered for in this province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Moving to our next speaker, Honourable Mati. Can you please, Honourable Mawethu Mati, you may take to the podium.
Honourable members, you are all greeted equally. We bring this submission to this House from the Youth Strata Front within the working class and organized by COSATU in ally with the African National Congress. COSATU Young Workers is a youth structure in the Congress of South African Trade Unions. The organization has deep interest of young people and the young workers and young people in general. Our interest as an organization is not limited to fight employment-related issues. We are, however, committed to social justice and equal society. We acknowledge the efforts and gains we have made since our democratical breakthrough in 1994. As we acknowledge this, we also appreciate the fact that legacy of the national class oppression remains. This then requires to develop a scientific, responsive approach to strengthen and defend the gains of democracy. As COSATU Young Workers, we have identified our problems as young workers to be related with the problems of society in general. We have analyzed the workplace as an organism of the broad society, and therefore, we cannot define our challenges away from those
of society we live in. Firstly, as COSATU Young Workers, we acknowledge our problems in this. We acknowledge our problems in the workplace as a deepened entrenchment of class division and as a reflection of continued class oppression, which is characterized by the general social and economic inequalities. The landing of COVID-19 in our shores highlighted the crisis and deep poverty in which workers and young people live in. The lack of adequate access to primary health care, decline in employment, and growth in labor, hyper-exploitation, resumable parasitic state patronage towards the working class is in our province. As COSATU Young Workers, we stand in support of the idea proposed by COSATU in the presentation in the Provincial Workers' Parliament. We support the establishment of a state pharmaceutical company in the province, which will, amongst other things, help us prepare for the next pandemic. Without having to rely on the national government and international community. Embedded to this is the idea of creation of effective distribution of health accessories and medication to our poor people in the province. As young people, we also see the dire need for immediate implementation of the National Health Insurance to assist the poor working class with high unemployment as a result do not afford to travel too far as to clinics. We therefore propose a 24-hour operating local clinics. In this context, we propose that each ward have a clinic based on proportion and demarcation. On inequality, unemployment and poverty, COSATU Young Workers in the province recognizes the deepened crisis of the triple challenge facing the young people in society in general. Our young people in the province and the country at large still live under an unequal society in which has become normalized. Unemployment and poverty. We are of the view that the provincial government should invest in local economy and township and rural economy to uproot.
Thank you very much, Honorable Machi.
Hey, I was trying to move.
Remember there in the back, there was no need to clap your hands. As I said before, I can see when the time is up, and I'm sure the honorable member on the podium can also see that. So there was no need to clap hands. What is that hand for, honorable member? On who?
What's your point of order, honorable member?
Honorable member, thank you.
Everything that have ANC.
Thank you so much, DC. Deputy Chairperson, I'm raising this point of order on the chair when she threatened the young people to call Sergeant at Arms on us. Can she please not bring the elderly people to come and violate us? Thank you so much. Can she please withdraw? She does not even have the authority to call Sergeant at Arms on us. Thank you so much.
Honorable member, firstly, I think that happened about an hour ago, if I'm not mistaken. We cannot repeat things over and over again. In the standing orders of this sitting that we are currently in, one of the things that we should refrain from as honorable members of the city is repetition, honorable members. The presiding officer or the speaker has every right to call the sergeant at arms if she feels that it's necessary to do so. It's part of the standing rules of this session that we are part of, honorable members. With that being said, thank you. Over to you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair, on that ruling. As we move forward, Honorable Mukoni, what is that hand for?
Speaker, I just want to raise this point of order in terms of protecting members of this House. I have realized that there is a pattern, Speaker. Whenever members of opposition are standing there, the members that side, they agitate, they provoke, and you have failed in your capacity as the Speaker.
That is not a point of order.
It is a point of order.
No,
it is a
not
point
a
of
point
order.
of
Speaker,
order.
don't suppress me. Don't abuse your power.
That is
I'm
not
not
a
finished.
point.
It's
That
a
is not
point
a
of
point
order.
of
What do you mean it's not a point of order?
You may take your seat.
So meaning that members of this House cannot be protected.
You may
This
take
is
your
an
seat.
ANC show. You
may
must
take
just
your
listen to
seat.
members of the ANC and allow them to teach us anyhow.
You may take your seat, Honorable Member. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, can you respond?
You may take your seat.
It's a point of order.
You may take your seat, Honorable Member. Honorable Mukoni, I don't think that was a point of order, and really to accuse my co-chair here of being biased, that is not true, because he made a ruling on the point of order that was raised, and I'm sure everyone in the House can agree that he did not suppress anyone and he was not biased towards anyone. What we are not going to have in this House is members who continuously want to degenerate this House, honorable members. And I did say, honorable members, if you feel that you don't want to be part of this House, you are more than welcome, honorable members, honorable member, to excuse yourself, and this House will continue with its business of the day. And we're moving quite nicely, honorable members, so I don't know what's starting to happen again. I have not recognized you. And I did say, honorable members, that you may raise your hand, and it is up to me as a presiding officer whether or not I will note that hand. I was making a ruling on the first hand, honorable member. I'm going to repeat it again. Maybe I'm going to say it slowly so that we understand each other. You may raise your hand, honorable members. Then the presiding officer will decide whether to note your hand or not. And that is the procedure in this House. I'm sure now I've said it in a much slower pace and everyone can actually understand what I am saying. Honorable members. Honorable member, I see a hand.
Well, thank you very much. Chair, my name is Biaki Chamagala. It is very sad that
honorable member at the back, I recognize the honorable member to speak. So, no, you are not going to disrupt other members in here. You are not going to disrupt other members here. Every time when you speak, everybody else keeps quiet and they listen to your point of orders. You are going to do the same. You are going to do the same to other members as well. When they speak here, you are going to keep quiet and listen to them as well. Because I'm sure you would not want other members to become rowdy when you are speaking. No one is speaking to you, honorable member. No one is speaking to you. No one is speaking to you. Whether it's a youth parliament or it's not a youth parliament, honorable members, the decorum of the House must be upheld. Honorable member, you may continue.
well, thank you very much. Chair, see, I'm rising to raise this concern. From where I come from, we stay very close to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The more we waste time on point of orders instead of wasting time dealing with issues or the agenda of the day, let me rest assured the House Chair, the ones that we are here representing, they are not benefiting anything. So I'm pleading with you, Chair, because already from Thabo Mofokeng, which is the biggest region in the province, I'm pleading, Chair, that let's work on time so that some of us, we get to arrive home in a very
Honorable
good
member, that was not a point of order. I can chair, honorable member, that you don't have to, assist me. Honorable members, we are going to move forward with our program. And on the podium, honorable member, honorable Taba, can you please move to the podium?
Ke dumedisa Speaker, the Deputy Speaker,
Honorable member, to the people that are assisting us at the back with the distribution of foods and snacks, can you please do it quietly so that we may hear what the honorable member is saying? Please. Thank you, honorable member. You may continue.
Ke dumedisa Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Chair of Chairs, all the members of the Executive Council, and all the members of the Provincial Legislature. I uprise from the Red Nation, economic freedom fighters. It is with great honor to stand in front of everyone today in this youth parliament to celebrate the youth of 1976 and what they stood for and fighting against an unjust government system. We take lessons from the group. The only issue we have is that we are not coordinated as young people. Madam Speaker, my contribution to our debate today is mainly around the disabled health system and economy. Speaker, the Commission on Growth and Development was established in April 2006. It felt that the benefits of growth were not fully appreciated, but also to recognize that the causes of growth were not fully understood. Let us get one thing straight. COVID-19 might have contributed to a decline in the economy, but it is not the main resource or reason before unemployment rate was already 34%. As we speak, the repo rate has gone up twice. The fuel price was less than 15 rand in 2021 February. The cost of living is unbearable and young people are at the receiving end of this. We as young people can no longer rely on elderly to fix our present and future. We call for the nationalization of banks and mines. The state needs to build capacity by building own bank, construction. This will also reduce the corruption we've seen from the tender system. Looking on the lack of skills in a broader scale, the lack of skills in a particular area could be either chronic or temporary. If is chronic, for example, one in an economy can learn programming. They will not produce any software. Noted that causes of lack of skills among South Africa youth were as the result of the shortage of investment skills, poor infrastructure and weakness in the training system, and cyclic increase in employment in the various sectors. Moving forward, lack of health service. In all three countries, poor people are not benefiting from or accessing health services to the same extent of wealthier group, and when they do, They are mainly using Lower Coast nearby primary care public facilities. In all three countries, higher order public and private hospitals are mostly located in urban area, making their access difficult for the poorest groups living in remote areas. These groups were more likely to use closer primary level facilities found in sub-districts. However, even these could be difficult to reach. For example, you travel about miles before you get to the health facility. When you are sick and have to travel a mile, if God is not on your side, you may die. Ngenxa yokusilela kwezixhobo ezibhedlele, ngenxa yokusilela kwezixhobo ezibhedlele, there are babies who have died because incubators were occupied.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, I did say that you don't have to clap hands when the time is up. Please refrain from doing such. We're going to have another speaker from the Economic Freedom Fighters. It's Honourable Matluko. Honourable Matluko, please take to the podium.
Thank you very much, Speaker and Chair of the session. Mine is just to give a political overview of the EFF. Greetings to all young people, unemployment, landless, and dejected masses of our people. It's great how members of the executive and legislatures give us a historical background on the importance of this month. This month is the month of the Freedom Charter, and today is the day that Comrade or Honorable Member Chris Hani, one of the Kerelas who were on the forefront of our liberation, assassinated by the racial settlers who have turned 80 years old. We cannot neglect the fact that the ruling elect have neglected the Freedom Charter and have become self-serving people. Speaker, the theme of today is, the theme of today is promoting sustainability, livelihood, and resilience of young people for better tomorrow. It would have been very progressive and very revolutionary if indeed the livelihood of young people were actually included or taken serious. The overall view of the EFF is that young people need to be involved in the decision making of the country. Young people must not only be reduced to forums. We as the organization render the whole city irrelevant, bogus, and useless. Subsequently see the whole process as an insult to the youth as a whole. Us as the movement would like to echo out without a fear or favor that we spit on the so-called youth parliament. Speaker, it is befitting to equally register the fact that this sitting serves as a sign to disrespect or spit on the legacy of the generation of 1976. Tina, as the EFF, will not allow a situation where our history is being turned into a Trevano or rather a stand-up comedy show. Surely, the spirit of theatre machinery is definitely not in revolutionary peace. Thereupon, further to boldly utter that we know that this is another way or another approach of siphoning state or provincial funds. Let it be known to the entire House that we as the EFF, we are yet to demand the budget of this gathering. As I submit, Your Honor, Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. In that fashion, Honourable Members, we're going to call our next speaker. In front of you, there's a speaker's list. There's a speaker's list in front of you, and with the one that I have, there's a bit of alteration. As you noticed, the following speaker was supposed to be Honourable Memela, but so we're going to have Honourable Mazibuko to take to the podium as the speaker from the ANC. Honourable Mazibuko, please take to the podium. wondering what is the point of order is on about when there was no speaker on the podium. I am just wondering what the point of order is when there was no speaker. No, you are not going to be given an opportunity. You are not going to be given the chance to speak, honorable members. There was no speaker on the podium. What are you raising on? What are you raising on?
I think they're all friends.
No, honorable members.
Friends like this one.
No, honorable members. It can be that when other honorable members have to speak, the house have to degenerate, but when others speak, everything is in order, honorable members. It can be.
Now I'm raising the I'm asking.
What is the point of? Are you guys on a point of order? What are you raising on?
Basically, what you should do is you should ask the member first.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. This house is not going to collapse because people feel that it's not supposed to sit. No, it's not going to collapse. It's not going to collapse. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. Luckily, this house, there are rules and procedures, and there are powers invested in this house as well. If honorable members, I'm going to ask people to start leaving the house if they don't want to be part of this house. Honorable members, I'm going to ask people to leave this house, and if they don't leave, the IPSS is here to assist them. Honorable Mkodi, you may take your seat. You may take your seat or you may leave the house. You may take the seat or leave the house. And if you don't want to take your seat, the IPSS is here, will assist us in escorting you out of the house, and the house will continue with the business of its day. We're not going to have this, honorable members. You can't want to threaten other members when they are speaking, but when it is your chance to speak, everyone else has to listen to you. No, honorable members, this house has rules and it has a procedure. And luckily for us today, we also are invested with certain powers. We will ask you to leave the house or we will assist you to leave the house, honorable members. And that one, it will happen. Trust me on that one, it will happen, honorable members. Take your seat, honorable Masite. Honorable members, I'm repeating this. If you don't want to be part of this city, you may excuse us. Excuse this house, or we'll ask you to leave. And if you can't do that, honorable members, you'll be assisted. You'll be assisted, honorable members. No. Honorable Masite, Honorable Masite. Honorable Mkoni, Honorable Mkoni, if you don't want to be part of us, you can excuse yourself. Honorable Mkoni, Honorable Mkoni, if you don't want to be part of this city, you can excuse yourself.
No, they must shut up and sit down. You don't have to remove them, you are not scared of them. Leave them. They must just be quiet.
Honorable Mkoni, Honorable Mkoni, Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. 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 Can the IPSS assist us in removing Honorable Mkoni? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. Where's my IPSS? Can the IPSS assist us in removing Honorable Mkoni out of the house? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. IPSS, can you please assist Honorable Mkoni leaving the house here? Honorable Mkoni, please leave the house. 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 Where's the IPSS? Where's the IPSS that is over? Why are they not moving? You are next. Can we have the IPSS as well that is going to assist us in removing people from the house? I have those powers, honorable member. Unfortunately for you, I do have those powers for today. The IPSS must also come in so that they make our work in this city very easy as well. No one is going to collapse this sitting today. If you feel like you don't want to be part of this city, you may excuse yourself. It is that simple. Now let's hear it. Honorable member, there's no sin in the city. Honorable member there at the back. No, honorable members, no. The house is not going to collapse. We are going to finish the business of the day. The APSS must get in here so that we assist people in leaving this house because they don't want to be part of this house. It is very simple, honorable members. If you don't want to be part of this house, you may excuse yourself or we will assist you to leave this house. We're not going to collapse this house. It's not going to happen, honorable members. It is not going to happen. Honorable members, I called on the podium. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, we are going to continue. Yes. The IPSS has been called. It will be in this sitting with us throughout so that when people don't want to be part of us, they can excuse themselves or they'll be assisted. Honorable member, I didn't recognize you. I did not recognize you, honorable member. Honorable members, I did not recognize you. I said the IPSS is being called. We're still going to deal with the matter of Honorable Mugoni there. All right. Honorable members, because the house seemingly, I wouldn't say that it is collapsing, but there's certain elements of degeneration. We are going to take 5 minutes recess, and in that 5 minutes recess, can the IPSS also be located and come to the sitting as well? So we are going to have 5 minutes recess.
Because we don't need
No, we are.
The house is on a recess.
The house is on a recess. It's fine, it's up to them. You say the IPSS in 30 minutes. Yes. I said they must come in here, they must always be
district representative. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, ke tlo kopa re emise hanyenyana with the refreshments. Ke tlo kopa each political party that is here, ke tlo kopa one rep of each political party, one rep of each district to come and join me as we go out and have a 3 to 4 minutes caucus. Yes.
The chairperson and the deputy. The chairperson and the deputy.
Do you think we should take the Okay, so fine. We'll also take the presiding officers because then parties are there, so that it should not appear as if they are biased. All the parties join us, one per party. It means I'm expecting 9 warm bodies.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 warm bodies. I'll come with them. Osha, Kibona Democratic Alliance, EFF is here, Mangaung is here, Fezile Dabi,
Political party.
which when else again? ANC is here, Harip is here. No, we can't have 2 ANCs. We can't have 2 ANCs. No, I made it clear that I need political parties and districts. I want political parties and districts. Where's Lijol Put? Is here. Okay, no, it's fine. We can go. Let's go.
Ka mo le ba kreile kaofela?
kwatile jwale. Tjhele re kwatile. Ho ka se re le babe. Yo. Kita benya bo. O khutle ke ya. Ala monna nna o ba khona di batla ba hona le se ka tshipati. Yani ye fe. Ona wa bona wala. Malu. Ai. O re pele ka tshi. District ya Mangaung. Eh. Tata Zondo. Se ke hloka a ke re se re qeta ho ba one district. So ke bo mang ga re pike a tseba ke bo ba tsona.
Fa tseba ke ba we didn't announce that.
A re qeta ho decide mang. O tla tla announce ha tjhe.
Ma. Se ke tshwe ke bo bona ba le fe bona ke mang pe district.
No, district affairs leader ke na le ena le Kharipi le Tshofutsa. Bana ke na le bona. Le jwe ke ba tseba ke mang Kharipi ke a tseba ke mang. First leader bi. Thanka thosa ho futsa yana fela le Mangaung.
Ke bo mang?
Ke fa bona. Le jwe. Okay. Hana ke ba. Ke Simphiwe Khalifa.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Ke go pa utime di mic tse pedi tseo.
Bona bogi. Babi ke di vet.
Iti.
Then re tla ba se tseka.
Ya ha de Mangaung. Ah, wena tla tima ka ma.
Not
first leader ke is.
Thabo Mfutsanyana.
Oh, le mona.
Malo.
Where else? Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, ne ke tlo kopa hore
Boipelo Mabogo.
Thabo Mfutsanyana and Mangaung. Can you please give us the district reps that will be speaking after political parties? We just need one speaker moving forward. You can just perhaps have your own chart to say who will be remaining on the list, and then you can make a beeline to the table and then indicate who will be speaking on behalf of the district. Thank you.
Little fair. Okay. Next. Then Mangaung.
Yes, I made it.
Okay. So you continue. Greetings again, colleagues, honorable members. To the continuation of the Youth Parliament 2022 under the theme Promoting Sustainable Livelihood and Resilience of Young People for a Better Tomorrow. Colleagues, we all know that we took 5 minutes recess, and I believe everyone is ready and re-energized to continue with the program of the day and to finish the business that we were invited here for. When we left for our recess colleagues on the stage, on the podium, I had called Honorable Member Mazibiko from the ANC to come to the podium and give us her speech as well. Honorable Mazibiko, you may ascend to the podium and continue where we left off. Honorable Member, what is your point of order?
Dissatisfaction of the EFF about how we ran the meeting of the chief whips, especially when we were bulldozed by eldership there in that meeting.
That is not a point of order, Honorable Member.
And then
No.
also, Speaker, what I want to say, my input is this. I'm suggesting that maybe all political party who were there, they must come and speak for it. What are the resolution of that? There must be given an opportunity to give body resolution, and then the other thing, Speaker, I was suggesting for a political party, I think the only political party is Paya Open Ketilopu. I don't think there is anything good that it will be said. We have done speaking, so let's just leave these other things like that. And then possibly we can go to that one of the district. We try to see how we minimize it as we have agreed. That's I thank you.
Number one, that is not a point of order, Honorable Member. And secondly, you left the meeting before the meeting was concluded. We had agreed that we are going to continue with the 3 speakers that are left in the political parties, that they must come and speak as outlined on the speakers list. So we are going to continue as we had agreed in the meeting that you left without knowing its conclusions. Honorable Mazibiko, you may take to the podium.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have gathered today at this Youth Parliament to review as we recollect on the resolutions of the 2021 Youth Parliament and to take stock of the ground covered, where amongst other issues, the key challenges faced by our youth were high rate of unemployment, inequality and poverty. The COVID-19 pandemic has further deepened the challenges through the lockdown levels that did not assist in opening the market to allow young people to occupy their destiny. Rather, it deepened their vulnerability as the status quo remained. This resulted in many young people being victims of drug and alcohol abuse, while others could not even bear the frustrations and resorted to committing suicide, and others joined gangsterism and got arrested, resulting into them having criminal records. That alone took them to the wrong side of the law. One of the renowned 4 leaders of the world, in particular South Africa, Comrade Moses Kotane, when addressing young people, once said, "At this hour of destiny, your country and your people needs you. The future of South Africa is in your hands, and it will be you that makes what you want of it." It cannot be correct that as young people today, we are still not knowing or have not done anything in ensuring the future of the country is indeed in our hands, as called upon by the leader of Node, by that leader of Node. As we meet in this August House, we must resolve on making a difference in honoring the words of such leaders. Honorable members, this state of affair can and must never be left unattended. We must call upon all relevant departments like the Department of Health and the Department of Social Development to assist in the rehabilitation and reincorporation of these young people. This also includes addressing the issues of gender-based violence, child-headed families and households whose fate led them on wrong side of the law as well. to come back to society and actively contribute in building the provincial economy in various sectors. The Department of Police, Roads and Transport is also called upon to fast-track the expungement of criminal records, as there are many young people who have applied for such, and it takes forever for the department to reply to their requests. While complaining about this department, let us compliment it also for the progress it has made on the safety and security ongoing in this province. There are still more to be done. Amongst these people, Madam Speaker and honorable members, you would be surprised to learn that there are many of them who are qualified as artisans in skills like welding, plumbing, motor mechanics, and many other skilled labor, who could contribute immensely in growing provincial economy.
Honorable Masbuko, there's a point of order. Honorable Masbuko. Mic, please switch off the mic.
No, thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm raising on the point of order that in terms of the instruction or order of the process, it was said that honorable members of the youth parliament, they should not wear something. So I see a member of the opposition party wearing something. Equally, he's just to be off now. Thank you.
Honorable member, I'm trying to look and check if there's any member who is wearing something, but I can't see that something. So please, honorable members, if you are wearing something, can you please take it off? Please take off that something. Honorable Mazibuko, you may take to the podium.
Madam Speaker, we also acknowledge the commitment demonstrated by the Honorable Makalo Mahali through his Department of Distie in empowering emerging businesses of young people and strengthening the local economy. We, however, call upon him not to drop the ball, rather continue supporting young people in various business sectors. We would also like to task the Distie together with Treasury to take on board also the same young people who they have skilled, to giving them businesses that can sustain them, and also taking through the theme of this gathering of making them sustainable.
Honorable Speaker, your time is up. Thank you. Honorable members, I would like to call on the podium the Speaker from the DA, Honorable Mukhomu.
Greetings to honorable members in the House, Honorable Speaker. I am here to say South Africa's unemployment rate is considered to be a chronic cross-country comparison, regularly affirmed that South African unemployment rates are among one of the highest in the world. Speaker, I am here to outline measures that the Free State government can implement to tackle the youth unemployment rate. Firstly, the figures from the Statistics South Africa show that a whopping 63.9% of the Free State youth between the ages of 50 and 34 are unemployed. This is very alarming, and what is more alarming is that the situation could worsen in the coming years. It has been shown that this is primarily due to the weak economic performance and the structure of the provincial economy, which is moving towards becoming more skills intensive, while a significant number of its participants have little to no hard skills. The high unemployment youth rate shows that the young people are not gaining skills and experience that is needed to drive the economy forward. What causes the unemployment to be so high in the Free State? It is within our education system. There is lack of education and training. A great amount of university graduates are unable to find jobs and put their knowledge as well as capabilities into producing innovative and contribute to the economic growth. What can be done, which is what I'm here to outlay to the House. The long-term remedies to this youth unemployment problem are in the education development, the labor force skilling or reskilling, inclusive economic growth, and promotion of youth entrepreneurship, amongst others. When we promote the youth entrepreneurship skills, we will then avoid conversations where the MEC will come here to undermine the local economies of young. Oh my gosh. When we tackle this entrepreneurship and skill and give the youth skills, we will prevent the MECs to come here and belittle the ideas that come from our young people in the locations where he will say he's tired of getting ideas of car washes and tuck shops. So we apologize, MECs, that young people are trying to claim back the local economy of tuck shops that has been taken by foreign nationals. Skills which are in demand and lead to employment should be made known to the youth. Secondary and tertiary institutions do not provide enough postgraduate guidance, and therefore, this is something that should be taken into consideration. The education system should ease transformation from school to tertiary to work and to some labor market institutions. What can be implemented to combat the unemployment is an additional funding for programs, youth programs, and learners in secondary education must be prepared to go into the workforce. Municipalities should be obligated to give young people between the ages of 18 and 27 the opportunity to apply for social assistance benefits, and if they can check and trace these number of young people who apply within the period of a year, they must be forced to employ these young people. There must be facilitation to the school to work transition by promoting apprenticeship and combined work and training opportunities. Any company that recruits young people, apprentices, should be exempted from paying social security charges. Promote and transformation of internships into permanent employment contracts. Provide subsidies to promote apprenticeship for unskilled young people and support measures to help apprenticeship made redundant to complete the training. In conclusion,
please switch off your mic, Honorable Mkhomo. What is your point of order, Honorable Maspi?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm not sure if the member is ready to take a question, but the reality of the truth is that the TK at the Western Cape has failed to transform in terms of ensuring that
Honorable Member.
So
Honorable Member. Firstly, you said you were raising a point of order. That was not a point of order, and I'm not going to allow you to ask Honorable Mkhomo a question. Honorable Mkhomo, you may take to the podium and continue.
in conclusion, the road to compacting unemployment won't take a day or a single person. It requires all hands on deck, setting up of monitoring and evaluation mechanism, not just the programs, but also allow budget allocations towards the youth. Reflect of government commitments to youth unemployment in national budgets. Establish the links between young people employment policy and other policies that affect the youth employment. Outcomes and clear indications of roles and responsibilities of different implementation partners in employment policies and action plans of the youth. What is irrefutable is the fact that the Free State province faces what might seem like an insurmountable challenge of youth unemployment, which cannot be ignored. Well-coordinated massive policy investments will and will and time are needed from all the stakeholders if the province is to make a dent on this undeniable problem of youth unemployment.
Thank you, Honorable Nkomo. Honorable members, we are going to call on our last speaker from the political parties. From the ANC, Honorable Memela, can you please take to the podium?
Thanks, Speaker. I will not grade, it's going to take too much of my time. The FF Plus come here and say that why should we participate in the event of June 16 organized by the Speaker's office? I think, what do we mean by bringing government to people? Why would you have a problem with such an initiative? Because we take government to our people so that our people can vent our challenges that confront them, and that the information must be first-hand information. On schools, they came here and speak about that the lack of schools and everything. The ANC-led government has spent 2 trillion over the past 10 years in building schools, capacitating and for our national building and improving our infrastructure. We have a good story to tell. We have done good. We are still going to do good. The DA people came here and campaigned. The same person who said that the ANC is suffering from an ideological perspective does not have membership, by the way. He's a DA leader with no membership. So what we then need to do, can I be protected, Speaker? Speaker, can I be protected?
You are protected, Honorable Member. You may continue.
Time is moving.
Honorable Memela, there's a point of order. Honorable Member, I saw your hand. Oh. Honorable Memela, please switch off your mic.
Speaker, Platform Democratic Alliance. Honorable Member said that our chief whip doesn't have membership, and can we please withdraw because he cannot. It's not a fact, by the way. He cannot even prove it that he doesn't have membership. And it has nothing to do with the DA. Thank you. Don't be emotional.
Honorable Memela, can you not speak on issues that you have no knowledge of?
Okay, Pilot.
So that we avoid you accusing people of not being members or being members. So can you not speak on issues that you don't have full information on? Move forward. Honorable Member, what is that hand for?
So it's a point of clarity.
What is, okay, what do you need clarity on?
No, I just want to ask, are we making rhetorical or rebuttal speeches? If we're making rebuttal speeches, maybe please at least be told so we can also prepare. Number 2, Speaker, you just said when the honorable member was on the podium, you didn't even see what happened. You said, honorable, you may proceed, but you were just sorting out other things. You just told him that you must proceed. We're just asking that can you please be consistent with your ruling? In order the question of your biasness doesn't come up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member, there's no need to clap hands really. I did make a ruling on that, if you were listening. And secondly, Honorable, on what speakers present here really, you can't blame the House for that. I think Honorable Memela is making his own submissions, and as such, he should be allowed, like anybody else who came to the program who made their own submissions without any disruptions. Yes, he is making his own submissions. Honorable Memela, you may continue.
Speaker, there is a member who said that they represent the majority of young people, but with at least 15 membership for the entire province. Chairman Mao says that the young people are the most effective and vital in the force of society. They are most eager to learn and least conservative in their thinking. This is especially in the era of socialism.
Honorable
My time.
Honorable Mukoni, I see your hand there.
Yes, Speaker, I come on a point of order where I see you made a ruling and you informed the honorable member that he must stop speaking on issues that he has no knowledge on, but he has continued. Also, number two, Speaker, I've realized that when the member is standing there and attacking members of other organizations, you are allowing that, but you were very quick to call us into order when we were standing on the podium. Again, Speaker, you are biased. And that is why we are not reaching an understanding. You continue to be biased, even in your rulings. So can you please rule on your biasness, on your conduct?
Honorable Mukoni, I'm going to say this again. You want to dictate as to how this house should operate today, and that is not going to happen. I made a ruling on Honorable Memela and I cautioned him on that he must not make assumptions or talk on things that he has no knowledge of. Honorable Memela, I caution you again, please don't speak on things that you have no knowledge of, so that we don't repeat this dialogue as it is unnecessary. So I'm not going to give a ruling on my biasness, because I think I'm doing a steady job really under circumstances. So Honorable Member, you may continue. Honorable Member, you may continue.
Oh. Thanks, Speaker. The danger of now having this.
What is your point of order, Honorable Member?
Speaker, the member there is very comfortable to engage with the line. Can you please stop him, because the reason is doing that consistently.
Sit down, Honorable Member.
The reason is doing that consistently.
Honorable Member, sit down.
To order.
Honorable Member, sit down.
Please.
Sit down, Honorable Member. Honorable Memela is going to continue with his speech as everyone else did in this sitting. Honorable Member, you may continue.
Antonia Gramsci, a Marxist scholar in Italy, once said that we must study because we will need all your intelligence. You must agitate, we need all your enthusiasm. We must organize because we need your strength. He was speaking to young people. So we are here as the ANC to say that the ANC is reinventing its energy. It's doing on the right track. It's delivering as it has promised. We admit that we might have some challenges there and there, but the ANC is indeed a government of the people and by the people. Now, what you should actually emphasize as young people on this day, it was supposed to speak about the challenges that we confront in terms of the economy and the land question, which I expected my fellow EFF comrades to at least say something about that. When we speak about the economy, we will then refer... When we speak about the economy, we will then have to make our analysis in terms of the Free State economy.
You may continue, Honorable Member.
Oh.
Continue, Honorable Memela.
So the challenges with our economy is solely because...
I did not note. You may take your seat. Yes, you may take your seat. Thank you. Honorable Member, what is your point of order?
Sit down, Chief.
Honorable Member, please when you address other members, you address them as honorable members. Honorable Member, Honorable Member, Honorable Member.
It was 5 minutes when you called us comrades.
Continue with your point of order. Let's
We have come to the EFF chair. According to order, speak. Again, this is not your house.
No, honorable member, there's no need. You even further went to call me chief, so I'm not even going to make a ruling on that. You are out of order in every sense of the word. You can't come here in this house and call other honorable members chiefs and other names that are unparliamentary. Honorable member, it is very wrong to do that. And also when you address other honorable members, you can't be just standing up as and when you like and also pointing to honorable members in the house. Honorable member, that is not how things are going to operate. That is not, you may sit down, honorable member. Thank you. Honorable member, please continue. Continue, honorable member.
They will disturb, they will take my time if I could. Shall I continue?
Continue, honorable member.
Thanks, Speaker. So when in relations to the economy in the Free State, what you should be advocating for as young people is to say that we advocate that we have a non-sleeping economy. Like this is happening in China, it's happening in the US. You make our factories, our shop owners and everything to be functional for 24/7. Our clinics, our schools. For instance, we have a shortage of universities. What we can do, we can say that a high school during the day is a high school. At night it becomes a university. The same infrastructure, the same people, just that it serves many things. And what we then start, Speaker, can I be protected, please? What we then need to advocate for as young people is to say that you must have an economy that will cater for our people, bring profit to our people, so that the protection of the capitalism that is set for an annual, it can then be diverted and assist our people on ground saving.
Please take the seat.
My time.
I see a hand at the back. Honorable member in the blazer there. Are you rising on a point of order? Okay, let's hear your point of order.
Madam Chair, this is not fair.
Excuse me, honorable members, can you please be quiet? I want to hear what the speaker is saying.
Honorable member is busy presenting. Honorable members are only to say, because the House will say clearly that if you want a point of order, you just raise your hand quietly. Because now, if they are saying point of order simultaneously, now the meeting is time. So can you please call honorable members to order? Thank you.
I think your point speaks to the decorum of the House so that order is sustained. I see a hand. What is that hand for, honorable member? Let's see. No, sit down. Sit down, honorable member. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down and keep quiet. Sit down and keep quiet, honorable member.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. I have 2 points of orders, Honorable Chairperson. Number 1, the speaker there at the podium, he referred us, the EFF members, as comrades. Can he please withdraw? Number 2, Speaker, Chairperson, there at the back, we are being called by anarchist. Can those comrades there at the back stop calling us that? Thank you so much.
Order, honorable members. Honorable Memela. Honorable Memela. Please continue.
Okay.
Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, order. Honorable Memela, continue, please.
And the challenges that we face with the land, why the land cannot be distributed to our people, is solely because that of inheritance. A person who came here in 19-something still owns the land and given this land to its generational people. What then the government needs to do is that we must cut this inheritance of the land. The government must implement harsh measures to ensure that our people get a chance to have a land and that our land does not stay in a one family that thinks that is superior than other families. As I was saying about the issue of economy, we need to ensure that as young people, we have a non-sleeping economy in the Free State. For instance, Checkers and ShopRite must hire people for 24/7 so that we can hire more people and ensure that our people are hired and reactionary lumens.
Thank you, Honorable Memela. That concludes our second session on political parties. We're going to move to the next point on we're going to move to the second point on the same program, honorable members. We're going to move to the district, and I'm going to hand over to my co-chair to come and chair this session. I'll see you in a bit, but I'm still here.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this opportunity. Let me first start by greeting the House. Before we begin officially with the session of ours, I would like to quickly remind honorable members of the rules that we all agreed on last night. As they were all presented to us and we all agreed there was no objections to the rules that are going to govern this sitting. I'm going to be quick in reminding honorable members of the rules so that when we proceed with this session, it's more smooth, as we'll be all on the same page, because I have an impression that some of us might have forgot the standing orders or the rules that we adopted, and hence there's a little bit of commotion here and there. We agreed that every member shall bow to the presiding officer or chairperson in passing to or from his seat. No member shall pass between the presiding officer, chairperson, and the member who is speaking, nor between the presiding officer and the table, nor stand in any of the passages or gangways, except when addressing the presiding officer or when entering or leaving the chamber. Members must be seated. There shall be no photos in this gallery. Members who are not to be interrupted, so that we are all on the same page. No member shall interrupt another member who is speaking, except to call attention to a point of order, to a question of privilege, or to the presence of a non-member. Under the maintenance of order, order shall be maintained by the presiding officer, and members shall only speak when recognized by the presiding officer or chairperson. The precedence of presiding officer. Whenever the presiding officer or chairperson rises during a debate or engagement, any member then speaking or offering to speak shall resume his officer shall be heard without interruptions. Irrelevance of repetition. The presiding officer, after having called attention to the conduct of a member who persists in irrelevance or repetition of arguments, may direct the member to discontinue his or her speech. Member or presiding officer ordered to withdraw. If the presiding officer is of the opinion that a member is deliberately contravening the provision of these rules, or that a member is in contempt of or is disregarding the authority of the chair, or that a member's conduct is grossly disorderly, he or she may order the member to withdraw immediately from the chamber for the remainder of the day's sitting. If a member is of an opinion that a presiding officer is deliberately contravening a provision of these rules, or that a presiding officer is in contempt of or is disregarding the authority of this House, or that a presiding officer's conduct is grossly disorderly, this House may, by motion supported by a majority of members of this House, order the presiding officer to withdraw immediately from the chamber for the remainder of the day's sitting, provided that another presiding officer assumes the chair or this House elects a member who shall act as presiding officer for the remainder of the sitting. Members, to address rules of debate, the rules of debate, every member desiring to speak shall rise in his or her place addressing the chair, provided that if a podium is used, a member shall only speak from the podium, except to raise a point of order or a question of privilege, and to furnish an explanation in terms of Rule 25(1). The rights of members of the House to speak. A member may speak to question before this committee, a member may speak to the question before this House or a committee, to any amendment proposed to a question or amendment proposed or to be proposed by himself or herself, or to a point of order or a question of privilege. Members may not speak twice to a question unless otherwise provided in these standing orders. When the speaker is in the chair, no member may speak twice to a question. Time limits for speeches. Unless otherwise provided in these rules, when this House is not in committee, members shall be allocated time to participate in the debates. Offensive language. No member shall use offensive or unbecoming language. The speaker shall give his or her decision forthwith or subsequently on an objection raised to the language considered to be offensive or unbecoming under these rules. Point of order. When a point of order is raised, the member called to order shall resume his or her seat, and after the point of order has been stated to the presiding officer by the member raising it, the presiding officer shall give his or her ruling or decision thereon either forthwith or subsequently. Those, in short, honorable members, are the standing orders that supposed to and should be guiding our deliberations as this sitting. With that being said, I believe we are all on the same page, and we will be cooperating with these rules as our minds are now refreshed on what needs to happen and what should not happen. Without a waste of any time, as indicated by the speaker, that I will be presiding over this session of presentations by district sector representatives. We had a meeting with representatives of parties and various sectors that are here with their leaders, and it was agreed in that meeting that instead of having 4 speakers per district, as we had initially agreed last night, we are going to reduce this to only 1 speaker per district. We further resolved as leaders of delegation and presiding officers that the speeches that are going to be delivered on behalf of the districts are no longer going to be 20 minutes, but they're going to be reduced to 10 minutes. Those are the new changes that I feel members of the House needed to be aware of. With that out of the way, honorable members, allow me to call the first presenter on behalf of the Mangaung district. Honorable member Malo, can you please take the podium?
Honorable Speaker of the Free State Legislature, Honorable Chair of this session, members of the legislature, and all the members of this parliament, please receive my warmest salutations. As said, my name is Ntalanipho Effort Malo, and I'm going to be speaking on behalf of young people in Mangaung, representing various sectors. I'm a student leader and I've been in many platforms, different universities, whereby students have been going through many crises. As many are aware that the amount of strikes that has been received across countries, more than even workers, it is students. But it is under the basis that we basically believe that as young people and students in particular, we are not represented, we are actually accommodated mostly when it comes to the implementation of certain commitments that have been done all along over the years by different presidents and ministers and deputy ministers. So without any further, I would then like to first highlight that currently in the Free State we are having NSFAS Summit. The NSFAS Summit that is actually supposed to be addressing the issues of students in Mangaung, mostly in the host university, which is the CUT, but we're currently having the situation whereby many of them, Chair, are actually even denied access, and there is just a talk show. So we are not taken serious. So it is under the impression that when members who are coming from strategic positions, whereby they have all the positions and the power to implement, they then decide to close the session, allow stakeholders who are coming only from business sectors to represent students, and then at the end of the day, they would want to address the issues of the students.
Honorable Malo, second please. Honorable Memela, can you please sit upright? Let's respect the decorum of the House, honorable members.
So, speaking on those issues, students are currently facing an issue. Chair.
Honorable Malo, can you please take a seat? It seems there's an order.
Thank you.
Speaker, since you are correcting people in the way they're sitting, the honorable member there at the back, could you please respect them?
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable Tawameku, I would like to plead with you leadership, if possible, can you please get fresh air for 5 minutes and then you come back. Comrade Honorable Malo, please take the podium.
Thank you very much, Chair. So, I really I feel like different delegations who are coming from student communities have been able to highlight on many issues that students are currently facing and proposed a solution as to how can we better counter such a situation. So I'll just be exact to say, number one, early in the year we were very disappointed as the student community when it happened that students at the University of Free State were denied food and denied accommodation, and they slept at the bridge. And it then happens that in the next morning we found ourselves all over social media, and people who were actually agitating that process and driving that process was the Free State provincial government. There was an issue in Kwakwa whereby students banned 2 facilities in the university, of which it was something that should have been condemned, but it actually concerned us to a certain extent to say issues have been pertaining since the beginning of the year, but the Free State provincial government is only vocal when there is now something wrong. To say at that point, where were they in the beginning when students were sleeping outside? Where were they when students didn't have food? Where were they whereby at the University of Free State 6,000 students were denied access even though they had offers and had to go back? So it was the issue that we are not saying all these kind of responses are not okay, but we are saying, can the same energy be invested also when students are crying out and saying there are issues? As someone who's representing the sector, I will then go on also and like to move to, because I had 4 sectors to actually speak on, so I've spoken so much on that, and I'm basically believing that with what I've written down, it is going to then be well represented on that side. So I would then like to go on, Honorable Chair and the House to the point of which is very critical, of which I think
Honorable Malo, please take Yes, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Chair.
Honorable Speaker, can the Speaker on the podium take a question?
We will not be allowing any questions as we have already indicated. There's been a precedent that has already been said that no one will be taking any questions. It would be unfair to deviate from the process at this point. Honorable Malo, with that being said, please take the podium.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Speaker, for allowing me that chance. My honorable member there, Honorable Tiseto Mokhumong, did touch on the economy that many young people in townships, through an apology that made in the MEC. But I would then like to deliberate further as that it is something that falls under the SMMEs, and we basically believe that such a sector, or rather I would say a division, has not really been given so much attention. It is up to this date that we are saying SMMEs and micro businesses play an important role in development of an economy. Successful economies around the world have acknowledged the positive contribution that SMMEs play towards growth and development of the economy. In African countries, Honorable Chair, where many economies are informal, the small businesses are very facilitating individual participation in the economy. As such, SMMEs form a critical backbone of many in the African economies. Furthermore, Chair, is that as in many socio-economic establishments in Africa, in South Africa, small businesses operate in different environments. So in a case like that, why does then not so much focus is being given to small businesses in township? Wherever you grow, and they've been saying it's townships, now even in suburbs, because I would like to believe that universities is considered a suburb. If you go around there, there are many names that you know. Some is Max, some is Casper, some is what. They are all, if you can ask them, who is Casper? They would not know, but they know that they're operating here. But the issue is that, Chair, with me getting that across, even now, it's no longer, it's in rurals, it's in townships, it's in suburbs. That division has been taken by foreign nationals. And if we can actually check, many of them in the media have been found to actually not even contributing a cent into the African economy. So it is to say, it has been said, there are many movements that have been proposed to say, no, take foreign national. But the truth is that what are these sectors, the SMMEs, like the Department of Destea here, the finance and whatever, why are they not taking it up to themselves? That they are saying today, this is what, and then you'll find that the minister saying, oh, not the minister, the MEC, the MEC saying they are tired of such. Clearly says that he is tired of actually investing in young people in those communities. There was a youth launch in the office of in the OR Tambo building. In that youth launch, the businesses that were actually put there, it was 4IR and all those things that are very much sophisticated. But in the issues that are actually pertaining the majority of young people who are underprivileged, it is not really taken into consideration. So ours is to then say, Chair, and we are going to give a submission also, as we were advised earlier, that we want to bring it to you as to say how are we exactly willing to make sure that we are implementing this thing, because we are tired of speaking. Also, Chair, it is our submission that from now on, after reading the reports that we found there, that in the implementation side, from what was resoluted upon in the Parliament of 2020, there are many blank spaces. It clearly says that this department is currently not capacitated enough, or not really taking into consideration the seriousness of this sitting. We therefore propose that there should be a steering committee that is going to comprise of all these young people who are currently here today, to ensure that they attach timelines and make sure that their businesses also that are going to happen maybe at least once a month or twice, to ensure that how far is the Free State provincial government in collaboration with other critical sectors to ensure that what young people who come and present here bring this thing into action, rather than this thing becoming a talk show and TikTok, as many comrades have alluded. I withdraw before being charged. Thank you. It was a very big mistake. Thank you very much. May I continue to speak? So it is in that sense that we are saying let us be taken serious. Before I close, and I am also representing the sector whereby it is mostly affected. We find many young people, many young women in Africa, they themselves recognizing themselves, or rather owning up to Charlotte Maxeke as one of those who played a very critical role in the struggle of women. But whatever we found in political spaces, in strategic departments, there is an issue of courtism. Women are just filling up spaces. They are only taking, you find that out of the top 5 of the ANC, they are only taking treasurer. There is no chair. So it is to then say, at this point, let us stop courtism, rather be very deliberate about our program to say we are not accommodating women, we are not even accommodating young women, but we are basically saying they form part of this. They also deserve the equal opportunity. In less than 20 seconds from now, I'll then be able to speak on a very critical issue that I know it has many representations. However, they are just speaking. It is Pride Month. If you can ask Free State Provincial Government or ANC, how many programs of Pride Month have you ever done today? You're going to find that there's issue and there's been none. So it is to say, stop preaching, stop singing accommodation, or rather accepting or including the LGBTIQ plus, but make it an implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malo, for your input. Without a waste of time, let me move to Lejweleputswa region, Lejweleputswa district, honorable members, and call upon the podium Honorable Simpiwe Kalipa.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, leadership in the legislature, and honorable delegates, the House at large, a very good day. I am from the LGBTQIA+ community. We are not how the world sees us. The society needs to stop labeling us. We're not some objects. My first point for the day will be the justice system of this country. We live among the trauma of being mentally, psychologically bullied, violated physically, and brutally killed for that matter, simply because our government does not acknowledge us, but they only recognize us. With regards to the aforementioned incidents, we would like to know and inquire as the LGBTQI community, on which day of the month in a calendar will the justice system of this country gonna have a specified and direct act such that we can be protected by all odds of the societies? Because women and children also have their specified and direct act. So how come we, as a community, the LGBTQI community, how come we are not protected? We are not a bunch of cattle with no shepherd. We are also humans. In the working sector, okay, my second point is the working sector. The conditions that we face, no, should I say the challenges that we face on our day-to-day workplaces, you may find in some cases that the employer or superior in a specific work is married after 9 men of his own family, but decides to trespass the non-fraternization rule within the Labor Acts in the workplaces by means of sexual harassment. Because if not, I deny that my life would be a living hell in a workplace. The situations are not favorable for us. Come to speak of religious. Churches nowadays are not what they were back in the days. A church is supposed to be the medium of communication between myself and the Almighty. However, the biblical discrimination is out of this world in our churches. You'll only be accepted and respected provided that your tithe is of a specific amount to please the church council, the congregants, and the fellowship at large? Do I need to have a title in church? Do I need to earn a certain wage level per annum in church? Do I need to dress in a certain way that suits the council and the church congregates? At some fellowship worship centers, you cannot be joining a worshiping team if you are from this community of ours, simply because the Bible says. How judicial. And in the business sector, it is quite funny how in the business sector we face challenges and struggles of being addressed or assisted in a very undermined way. Typical example, the funding departments like CIFA, NYDA, and DSTIA included only say it fit to provide and allocate funds for the LGBTQI people in the business, mainly for salons, catering and decor, garments making, fast foods and car washes. Why not multi-million businesses such as agriculture, tourism, Honorable Makalo Mohale, property, manufacturing, minerals and mining? Are these only above-mentioned industries suitable for their political associates, their relatives, or the big boys? Now let's speak of the government and politics. Come to think of it, the government forms for all the jobs we have in this government sector still accommodates the male and female in the gender boxes. However, the constitution of the ruling party states, and I quote, it is non-racial and non-sexist. Where and when is it applicable? Because I ought to believe that if that was the case, we would be, as the LGBTQI, in the Free State at large, we would be getting political deployments in our various regions and municipalities. But till this far, I've not seen any of my members from my society within the political deployments.
The House and the presenters that once you are done with your presentation, please submit it to the committee here so that your views are properly captured. We don't want to miss anything that was submitted by any of the honorable members in this House.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, esteemed honorable members of the House, the gallery, and the members of the executive, afternoon. It is with great displeasure that after 28 years into democracy, Kharib district is still without a KFC outlet. A joke as it may be, Honorable Speaker, this is a true reflection of a neglected district that is left to die without anyone caring. Still, Kharib does not have its own TVET college. When all these other districts have around 2 to 3 of those. It is within those lines that we demand from the Free State provincial government, in absentia members of the executive, to afford us an opportunity as Kharib of having a TVET college where young people will study what will assist them participate in the economic mainstream of the district, being mining, agriculture, and tourism. This will also assist the economy of Kharib to grow. Pardon me. This will also assist the economy of Kharib to grow as currently we only have Moteo TVET College with 2 satellites, one being in Kofifontein and one being in Zastron. This would also assist the growth as our theme for the day says, creating sustainable livelihoods. What we call the business of property. There are many young people in the district that are into property, and this would also assist them because those particular properties of theirs would be assisted to have accreditation by NSFAS, whereby local young people would be staying in. Honorable Speaker, Harib has a lot of land and many neglected farms that which young people could be grouped together and allocated as communal farms, wherein they would learn adequately the aspects with regards to agriculture, being production and business management. For effective and progressive economic participation of young people who are in agriculture, young women of Jacobsdal have established what we call a poultry farm, which is doing very good. Only lacking support, which I thought Honorable MEC Mohali would be here, as Distia, to afford them an opportunity of assistance through business management training in order for them to be able to run a successful poultry farm business, because in many cases, many projects or businesses in Harib do not collapse on the basis of lack of support financially, but because there is no monitoring and assistance through mentoring by these departments who only give them money. The fish hatchery in Harib Dam has collapsed immediately after the Chinese have left the entity. Whereas fish is one of the most critical sources of income in Harib. Because we are housing the famous Orange River there. Equally, Honorable Speaker, we as Harib we are in fact troubled by the fact that the Free State provincial government, together with Bloem Water, is planning a 3 billion rand project of pipeline, which is going to transfer water from Harib Dam to Bloemfontein. And not even single young people would be benefiting. And if it is going to have young people, we will be given young people from as far as Limpopo and told that young people have been catered for. The agri-parks that were built to assist the economic movement in Harib have been white elephants throughout, and they are inoperational and have since become useless. Honorable Speaker, and to yourself, Honorable Speaker of the Free State Provincial Legislature, the issue of Jacobsfontein is very painful. Jacobsfontein town produces diamond on a daily basis. But one will never say that Jacobsfontein is a mining town. To a point that a town that we have undermined, such as Springfontein, has become very much better than Jacobsfontein. The mine has exploited the community for a very long time. The chairperson of the Itumeleng Trust, that is a trust of the mine, is from Cape Town, has never stayed in Jacobsfontein. How possible it is to have 70% workforce coming from the Northwest Province and hidden somewhere in their mine compounds? The unemployment is a #1 pandemic in Harib. Young people have settled for CWP and EPWP employment, where many of our brothers and sisters are exploited on a daily basis by this government. There is no skill imparted on those young people. The only skill that is emphasized and which they excel on is sweeping the entire day without progress. That's the only thing those young people from CWP and EPWP can do currently. Honorable Speaker, the budget allocated for Harib is reduced every financial year. The MEC Pitish is not here. The member of the Executive Council responsible for finance, Mme Khadija Brown, annually, she takes her budget votes to Harib Dam and allocates budget to all the districts and departments and leave us only with scrums to fight for. And I would have posed a question to her if she was here to say, how am I supposed to cater to the needs of young people with different needs with only 30,000 budget that I get from the office there? And indeed, this has made us as Harib to feel as if we are step-kids or stepchildren of the Free State provincial government. Asifuni mitandazo. We do not need fasting. We need money. We need development. The LGBTIQ plus community has not been fully integrated in our communities and government, has also not come up with ways in which would support and cater the community. Like in all sectors, when opportunities arise, they must also get their fair share, like people with disabilities and women are getting. Through education, thorough education about LGBTIQ plus community must be done to try and assist with reducing corrective rape cases and assaults that are happening on a daily basis. Our frontline desk representatives of government must also be trained adequately as to how to deal with such cases, as in many a times they are the ones ridiculing our sisters and brothers when they come to complain. This is just like issues of GBV, where men are dealt with when they go and deal with this thing. It is that in that way that we say, Halala Freestata, indeed, future is freedom.
Thank you, Honorable Lonwabo. Now we are moving to Fezile Dabi District. Honorable Member Babiki Duvet, may you please take the podium.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, members of the House. We are gathered today here representing 90% of Sesotho-speaking people from Fezile Dabi. Allow me, Speaker, to speak with a language that they will understand better. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano tsatsing la kasheko re keteka kgwedi ya batjha ka kwano ka Freestata ka mora hore re fumane dikgaolelo ka COVID-19 re biela re kopana ka mora lemo tse pedi re kopana ha kalo mo re ile ga bona batjha ba mashuma a mabedi a motsolomong mane provinceng ya Eastern Cape ba hlokafala ka baka la melao le melawana e sa hlokomelweng ke ba ditsamaiso ba rekisang tai. Jwale ka batjha ba kopaneng kwano Freistata, ho batla ho le bohlokwa haholo hore ha re keteka nalane ya bahale ba ileng ba hlokafala ka selemo sa 1976, re hopole le moya ya batjha bao ba ileng ba sia maphelo a bona bekeng e sa tswa ho feta mane Eastern Cape. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ho bohlokwa re le batjha re kopane kwano re elelisane hore re a hlokanang re le batjha ho etsa bonnete ba hore moruo wa rona wa Freistata o tswela pele. Ha o tswele pele fela o hola, empa o tswela pele o akaretsa motho e mong le e mong e leng moahi le moduli wa kwano Freistata, haholoholo batho ba batjha. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, re kopana kwano ka shepo lena moo lenane la batjha ba hlokang mesebetsi le ile hodimo haholo Afrika Borwa. Lebaka a se lebaka la hore re ne re ile COVID-19, empa lebaka ke hore mmuso wa rona wa province le mmuso wa rona wa bohareng le mmuso wa rona wa naha ha bana maano ao a tla etsa go mesebetsi be teng ka hara Afrika Borwa. Jwale ho rona re le kopane tjena jwale ka batjha hore maano ao re tlang ka ona ebe maano a tla thusa mmuso ho etsa bonnete ba hore mesebetsi e thehe ka kwano ka hara motse wa rona ka hara province ya rona ya Freistata. Re tlamehile re le batjha re kopane jwalo re bue le lona jwale ka baetapele ba mmuso hore re a kopa tswetswe hore ka nnete tjhelete e kenyeditsweng ena e bitswang levy mane petrolong ha e ke e tloso hobane ka nnete e bolaya ba rantsho ha e re sebelletse. Boholo ba batho bao ba utlwang dipokothong ha petrole e nyoloha e ba batho ba rona ba batsho, mme re tobane le leqeme la mesebetsi ka hara province ya rona ho ba ho tla dipokothong. Re etsa kgoeletso ho lona hore ka nnete jwale ka mmuso ha ke re potlakiseng hore re kenye tshebetsong the integrated development strategy e tla tla e thusa hore ha le etsa mawa a hore le tla le tha mesebetsi jwang e be tse ding tsa dintho tseo le di nkelang hloohong le ho le thusa hore ke eng tseo re di batlang re le batjha ba ka kwana. Nakong ya ho feta ha ne re kopane mona re ile re etsa kgoeletso ho lona jwale ka mmuso wa province hore a uele ha ke le re utlwelleng re utlwile hore di-office tsa bomasepala di na le di-youth development officers, empa ho ha wa lekana hobane budget ya bona e nyane haholo, mme ra llela ho lona dilemong tse fetileng hore ha ke le etseng youth development directorate ho etsa bonnete ba hore batjha ba controla di-budget tsa bona le ho inkela diqeto dinthong tse ba amang, e seng ba ye ho di-principal tsa bona di-political offices moo ba tla ba jwetsa hore ena ya feta ha e fete. Mme re a boela hape ra itlisa hore a uele re a kopa batsamaisi ba mmuso, re a kopa ka nnete youth directorate ke yona e re hlokang e seng youth development officers ka hara dimasepala tsa rona. Tsatsing la kasheko re eme tjena re na le phephetso e re tobaneng le yona jwale ka batjha hore ka nnete mmuso mona wa rona wa Freistata re bona di-ambulance tsa rona kapo mafapha ana a tshuanyetso ditshebeletso tsa bona di tlile kwano provinceng kaofela, mme re a kopa ho lona hore ka nnete ha re decentralizing di-ambulance di kgutlele dimasepaleng, because batho ba batjha ba ya hlokafala dimasepaleng tsa rona because of this call center ya rona ya Bloemfontein. And it has been a time mo re ntse re raise re ga kopa ha di khutlele morao di khutlele dimasepaleng, empa mmuso wa rona e ka re o ikwetse ditsebe, empa re a kopa hore mme Sefuba o tla ke o etse ka bojohlojohlo hore di khutlele dimasepaleng. Re ema mona ka sheko jwale ka batjha ba Afrika Borwa re bua le baetapele ba mmusong hore tswetswe re a kopa hore ka nnete re le batjha re kopa lefatshe ha le sike la ba lefatshe la batho ba itseng fela, empa lefatshe be la rona bohle. Re hloka lefatshe hore ka nnete hore jwale ka ha ke tswa mane Fezile Dabi, boholo ba dibaka tsa Fezile Dabi di kgabile ka tourism mo batho ba batjha ba ka kgonang ho iketsetsa lekeno ho tswa ho tourism, empa ha ba sena lefatshe ha ba na letho leo ba ka le etsang. Batho ba batjha ba tswang mane Fezile Dabi, boholo ba bona ke batho ba ikamahanyang le tsena tsa temo, agriculture, empa ntle le lefatshe ha hona hore re ka etsa bonnete ba hore ba robala ba na le dijo tafoleng. Ntle le lefatshe ha re letho jwalo ka ma-Afrika Borwa le setjhaba sa rantsho. Mme re a kopa tswetswe, re hloka hore land expropriation without compensation e etsahale ka ho panya ha leihlo. E se e le nako re bina pina, empa pina ena ha e fele. Ya ho qetela motsamaisi wa dipuisano le modulasetulo modulasetulo wa motsamaisi wa dipuisano. Ho bohlokwa re kopane mona re elelise batjha ba rona hore an IDP e bohlokwa haholo di masepaleng tsa rona, because ke e nngwe ya merwalo eo masepala a kenyeletsang dillo le dintho tseo ba di hlokang hore ba di etse lenaneng le di-budgeteng tsa bona, ga ba budgete ho ya ka IDP ya bona. Empa rona re nka e le tokomane ya ho bapala jwalo ka batho ba batjha. We don't partake in IDP formulation. Jwale ho bohlokwa hore di-process eo ya IDP ra e utlwisisa ka botebo hobane re keke ba ka parlamenteng ralla, empa implementation ya teng e etsahala mane makgotleng a metsi a selehae, e seng mona province empa fela e le mmuso o bohareng o thusang mmuso wane mo dintho di etsahalang teng e leng local government. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano ha mmoho le motlatsi modulasetulo, rona re le batjha ho tswa Fezile Dabi re ikotla sefuba hobane ka nnete lemong tsena tse fetileng re ntse re itshupa ka thuto mane Fezile Dabi, mo re etsang bonnete ba hore re etsa menyamputletso ya rona mane nationally ho ba bang ba hara di top 10 district tse balwang ha sephetho se balwa mane sa baithuti ba sebeditseng hantle ka kwano ka Afrika Borwa. Mme ho go bolella hore motsamaisi wa dipuisano re se re le malalaotse hore re be le university ya rona mane Fezile Dabi hobane re itshupile dilemo tse 3 tse 4 tse fetileng hore ka nnete ntse re hlahella mane naheng, mme re kopa university. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano re le Fezile Dabi re sa boela re a tseba hore Ntate Makalo o etsa ho tlala seatla, empa ne re kopa hore Ntate Makalo mohale ha ka theoele dibakeng tsa ho tshwana le Eatonville le Kopisi mo le mane Etuele mo batjha ba teng ba sa fumane menyetla ngata hobane menyetla ya ditoropo tse kgolo, mme le teng mona a fika etse diphetoho. Mme ka ho tjho jwalo motsamaisi wa dipuisano re a leboha. Thank you.
Before I call upon the honorable member who is representing the district, I would like to implore the House to please observe a short moment of silence for the 21 young people who lost their lives in Eastern Cape. Thank you, honorable member. Honorable Mpiake Chavalala, can you please take the podium?
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm not going to be long because I had to cut all the submissions that I needed to submit due to time. Like I said, I'm staying very far. That's why we are the biggest district in the entire province. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all in the name of the greatest leader, Thabo Edwin Mofokeng. Honorable Speaker, the topic we confronted with today finds expression and context within the four walls of our constitution in South Africa. Honorable Speaker, let me start by telling a story. There is a young man from Harrismith that I know. a young man who have an interest in agriculture. But however, there is a lack of resource. There is a lack of program. There is a lack of initiatives to empower him. Then, Honorable Speaker, I will pose a question saying, who is snatching youth of now, while during the time of Nelson Mandela, he was nurtured, but not only politically, but he was nurtured to build a better future for this country. So the question remains, who is keeping the fire alive today to the current generation? That is why the current generation is resorting to drugs. That is why the current generation is resorting to things that are not building their future. They are resorting to things that are saying, no, if I can get money now, I'm fine. But forgetting that there is tomorrow and the future must be bright. Honorable Speaker, allow me to submit on behalf of young people in Tawamfutsanyana. The Department of Trade and Industry, together with Distia, young people of Mfutsanyana are saying they need to come and promote the mass youth enterprise development in the district. In a way, they must provide the collateral grants funding for youth-owned businesses. Honorable Speaker, in Tawamfutsanyana, we don't want tenderpreneurs. We want business men and women, in a form of saying that we will know that we have young people whereby when it comes to bidding for serious business in construction, they can be there to meet the threshold that is needed. Honorable Speaker, we are saying this year should help youth in Tawamfutsanyana to facilitate the creation of ecotourism owned by young people, particularly disadvantaged young black people. Honorable Speaker, if you want to enter Free State, you are from Lesotho, you'll pass Tawamfutsanyana. If you want to go, and people go to their holidays, going to Durban, they pass Tawamfutsanyana. So that tells you that in tourism, by using every land that we have, capacitating young people in order to make sure that tourism becomes one of the most important sector that brings economy to its stability in Tawamfutsanyana. Honorable Speaker, young people in Tawamfutsanyana have been crying. We are submitting that we are requesting for a university in Tawamfutsanyana that is going to specifically deal with agriculture, because Tawamfutsanyana is one of the richest in agriculture. Honorable Speaker, we are tired of planting maize meal, but when it comes to uriego production, Yatsamaya, or somewhere else. We want to do it our own. We want to plant it, reprocess until it is. Honorable Speaker, we also want to applaud the executive mayors and the mayors within Tawamfutsanyana for making sure that in their small budgets that they are having, they not only rely on NSFAS or they have made sure that in all their budgets, they have that portion that they must develop young people within the locals in Tawamfutsanyana. But we are saying, Honorable Speaker, we are pleading with the office of the Premier that we are requesting to bring programs that are going to enhance young people in Mfutsanyana on what they have. We don't want colleges or universities that are going to teach us technology. Because now, when you check, Honorable Speaker, we have Jacob, who was nurtured at the age of 9 years by their parents. So now we don't have parents who already have that advantage to make sure that their kids are already in the industry of agriculture at an early age. So we have those ones, and then we only get these experiences at that level when we have completed our matrix. Honorable Speaker, the biggest local municipality in Mfutsanyana, which is Malutia-Phofu, we want the government to intervene. We've got a lot of firms that are closed in Malutia-Phofu. We want those firms to be utilized and young people be given an opportunity to use them to create more jobs, because unemployment has become an enemy that is worse than any, even COVID-19 cannot come to the level of unemployment. Honorable Speaker, last but not least, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to say that young people in Mfutsanyana are saying now they are demanding a theater in Mfutsanyana, because there are lots of stories to be told. We are inspired by young people of KwaZulu-Natal who are dominating now in all our screens. You go to 161, there is a story that has captured the entire country. When you look there, the language that is dominating, it's Zulu. We want Sotho to be promoted. We want to tell story about Mantsopa. We want it to be there so that everyone can know that Free State, particularly in Mfutsanyana, it has heroes and heroines that have made a prominent role. So we are saying, Honorable Speaker, the government must pay attention to our needs, not the programs that they feel that no, we must go there and make a certain programs. We want programs that talks to our environment. Honorable Speaker, the last one. You see, I have to cut it, like I said, Honorable Speaker, because I see that time is no longer on my side. Honorable Speaker, there is an enemy called, some they call it Nyaupe. They've got a lot of names. This one, it doesn't need government. It needs us as young people. We know we are poor, we know we are not moneyed. It is very sad that the government of Free State can invest in education, giving people bursaries. Some went abroad to study. It's very sad that now you will see them that they became junkies. Let us all come together as young people, because the future is in our hands. It's either we fight that now or never. Because all of us here, I think we're having children. You must know if we don't stop it now, our children are going to inherit that thing. Thank you very much.
Honorable Member Chabalan. Thank you very much, honorable members. That concludes the session of our sitting. With that being said, honorable members, let me relinquish the powers that have been temporarily vested in me and hand over to the duly elected Speaker of the House, Honorable Kilebogile Thulo. Thank you.
Greetings again, honorable members. I think all of us, we have a program in front of us, and as my honorable co-chair has alluded when he was chairing this session for district reps, he did mention that there are some changes that were made to the program because of time constraints. And one of those changes to the program is that on the inputs and engagement by the delegates, that part was ruled out, and we had agreed that if there are any other submissions that honorable members in the House feel that they want to make, then they can make them in writing and send them to Mr. Zondo, or I don't see him, yes, to Mr. Zondo, so that they are also captured in today as resolutions and recommendations. So right now, honorable members, we're closer to our program. We're actually nearer to closing. Yes. We're moving to a point of the closing remarks, and I don't know where it is. Yes, we're going to have the closing remarks by Honorable Speaker of the Provincial Legislature, and her name is Ms. Fuba. Ms. Fuba, can you please take to the podium?
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker of the session. I'm going to be very brief because we don't have time already. At the beginning of the session, I explained to the delegates that are here representing the youth in our communities that as the legislature, we are responsible for public participation. That is why we use that core function to make sure that we interact with different sectors in our communities so that we can be able to open platforms for dialogues and debates which can then inform the policy or the law-making direction of our province. I don't regret that with all the glitches that we've experienced, I don't regret the fact that we had this platform. And we are going to continue to have it annually because it is worth it to us as the legislature, because we get to be able to listen to you talking. And this platform, as I said, it is meant for youth as a sector. We've got youth out there who do not belong to any political parties that are represented here, but that is also their platform as well. It is not a platform of the political parties. So we must be cognizant of the fact that we are representing the youth generally as a sector. And if we were to focus on the issues that affect the youth, we wouldn't have time to waste 3 hours on issues that are not going to give us anything tangible out of this platform. I know that I could not hear some of the issues, but the issues that are common that have been raised is the issue of unemployment, is the issue of assisting youth to get into the large-scale economy, not necessarily small puzzle shops and kawashis and all that. And I think when those issues were mentioned, the MEC for Distia was still here. Those are the matters that need planning, which the MEC for Treasury has mentioned that we need to have an initiative, we need to have a strategy that comes from youth to say, how are we going to resolve the issues that are confronting the youth? I must thank the districts. I wish you could have started. Maybe we could have had a better session, because I think your presentations gave us more clarity and more to work on. Because remember, after this, we have to have a team that is going to come together and be able to say, how do we go? And those things that are there in the Act already, all we need from government is to say, where are the problems in terms of implementation? And we must be able to say, these are the initiatives that the youth is proposing. Is it possible? Is it feasible for us to be able to do that? So that we can come and be able to provide a progress report. As I said at the beginning, that youth is not the only sector that we convene here. In August, we have issues of women. As you know, in South Africa, we celebrate 1956, more than 20,000 women who took to the street as part of the fight for the liberation of this country. We also have the traditional leaders dialogue, and we've made progress in terms of resolving their issues. We also have the issues of disability. We have Disability Parliament in November that we hold. So we have a whole range of the sectoral engagements that we are having. And for us, when we get out of this platform, we must be able to say these are the issues that have been raised by that sector, and what do we do with them? Because everything we do, we must get value out of it. The Batupili principles of government has a clause that talks about value for money. So we cannot just have a platform after organizing and spending money, and then people will come here and say, we must collapse this platform. There is money that has been spent here, and that money we must account for AG. And when you suspect that there is something that I noted that did not augur well, because at this day and age, you must be careful of the comments that you make. Something that was talking to the looting program and all of that. If you have any suspicions, raise them properly. Because if you take this platform and make such innuendos, then it's not going to help us. It's going to create problems for all of us. We don't regret. I'm going to say it again, that we had this program. Before I sat down, we have noted everything. We've got the scribers that have been noting everything that you've been saying, the facilitation of who then comes, so that we can be able to process the resolutions that we have raised. That process will take place. But I want to leave you with these words. Frantz Fanon says, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it in relative opacity. So I think I won't even unpack that quote, but I think all of us are able to understand what that means. And going out of this, you must know that you were not representing yourself here, you were not representing the people coming from your party, but you were representing the youth in general that is in our community, the youth that is not working, the youth that is involved, that is exposed in gender-based violence, the youth that needs to be assisted to finish school. Those are the people that you were representing here. I thank you, Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Annelies Fuba, for those inspiring words. We're going to have a vote of thanks from the Chief Whip of the Provincial Legislature, Honorable Thabo Meko. Please take to the podium. Youth in Dala.
You see, the disadvantage of working under the Iron Lady is that even if you are not well and you ask to be released, she refuses. And you end up doing what I did there. But I think it's a demonstration that indeed the Youth Parliament is one of those programs of the legislature and very key and important. But no matter what, we have to be part of it till the end. Speaker, I want to start to thank the young people in general and the political organizations of the young people in our province, both in terms of your attendance, your participation in the whole youth parliament, and your discipline. Of course, in the context that indeed you have made it to be very successful, for participating in this program as one amongst many that deals with issues of your development as young people, the development of your own province, development of your own people and your country. That conduct locates the role of the young people in the development of a nation. And it is in keeping with the spirit of the young people of June 16 and many other various youth generations throughout the South African Revolution up until 1994 and post 1994. So what you did comes closer to the quotation that the speaker has left you with, defining your mission and in conduct demonstrating in action how you want to achieve that mission. So we must not take lightly what you did today. Parliament and provincial legislatures are arenas of the struggle in terms of how we appreciate the character of our democracy as a country. Young people and our people must appreciate that this is a platform of contestations of politics. If you like, you can say ideologies. But what is important about it is that we derive value that the speaker is speaking about in terms of progress. In other words, when you come together like this and you debate, it signifies that out of that contradiction, there's got to be progress. What we appreciate, what you did today, as participating and contributing towards your development as young people, and appreciating the dynamic linkage to the lives of the broader people, your province and the country. So for that, we want to thank you. Please give yourself a round of applause. What you exhibited is not out of this world. It's the nature of politics. But the caution of the speaker is that it must not just be for purposes of being rowdy, but it must be a progressive conflict that produces progress. That's what multi-party democracy participation must achieve. And that's why she convenes the legislature. That's why Parliament is sitting. It shouldn't just be an exercise where we want to parade egos. It must be a contestation of politics, of intellectualism, to produce on behalf of the people progress of the country. And that's what you guys have done today, and we really appreciate it. Let's thank the legislature. You know, those who interpret history for us are saying apartheid government had to dedicate resources and energy for the destruction of the future of the youth at that time. And that's why June 16 came about. That's why 1944 came about. That's why all these epic moments of our struggle came about, because the youth were targeted. For this one possesses energy. Unlike their forebears who by that time were growing old and all of that. For this one, they possess both physical energy and intellectual capacity, what you call political consciousness. Now, if you wanted to prevail over the people, manage this energy. Now, what the legislature through the speaker has done was to contradict that conduct and say, let's create them a platform to come together and talk about themselves, define their vision, and seek to fulfill it. So let's thank the legislature as, you know, one area of government that ensured the principle of multi-party participation finds more sharper expression, unlike in government, for giving you this opportunity to continuously come, undertake assessment, engage, take resolution, demand the report back, which I think the speaker is committed, or it has got to be an important feature of this exercise. So we also want to thank the legislature and its leadership for ensuring that all these sectoral platforms are created, including for the youth, which are very key, because the future of our country is going to be inherited by yourself. It is your right to defend and fight for that future today, so that come that moment, you don't find it in the street, trampled by the dogs. So thank you very much, Speaker, your leadership, and the broader legislature, which includes, you know, other political parties. Mekakau, a representative of TA, the leadership of the EFF was also here. They are part and parcel of the legislature itself. So for that, let's give them a round of applause again, please. Let's also thank the executive. And I think the speaker, when she speaks, touches also about the relationship between the legislature and the executive. Our role is to play oversight. The thing that the speaker talks about, what you have raised, your resolutions, the legislature must ensure that the executive is able to implement all of those things. Your resolutions. Legislature is not a delivering service delivery. Doesn't provide service delivery. You know, your economic goods, the things that sustain life. It is the executive. And that's why we said the two MECs were here, come, provide the basis for the young people to be able to engage amongst themselves and arrive at particular determination, so that it's not a talk show. So in their absence, and the Premier, let's also thank them, because ultimately they will be part and parcel of this route up until next year, Youth Parliament. That there's a tangible report that says this is what the representatives of the young people have said, and this is how far we have gone to respond to those things. So let's also appreciate their presence, and let's give them as well a round of applause. Our scribers. I wanted to make an example about them, but it's going to take long. I just want, in summary, to say thank you very much. It's not an easy task to want to write resolutions in the context of political debates. But over a period of time, they never disappointed, capturing the spirit and the content of the debates, such that ultimately we'll have a packaged report arising from this to say this is the general feeling of the representatives of the young people. And I'm deliberately saying that because Speaker is correct to caution you. You were not here for your own jacket. You represented the aspirations of the young people throughout the length and breadth of our province. So let's thank our scribers for the work that they've done, for being patient with all of us, or Haolo yourself, or in the process of the contestation of the issues, they are then able to derive what are the general feeling of our program and the meeting, or of the debates, if you like. Which report Speaker is going to package, confront her colleagues at the executive and say, please respond to all of these things. When Youth Parliament comes again, want to present a tangible report. So for our scribers, thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Well, I can't say more about honorable member speaker who were here. I think we did extend, I want to finish with the organizers. But also emphasize on, we are, you know, in the truest sense, public representatives. We may come from different political organizations, but when we arrive here, we are given specific tasks in terms of the legislature committees. The Speaker establishes the portfolio committees of the legislature to do, in brackets, the dirty work in terms of oversight. If a particular department says, we're going to give young people the following things during this financial year, a responsible committee must call that department and assess progress and ask very difficult questions if those things have happened or not. And this is the essence of the legislature. When you see us every time we are in the city and the Speaker, you know, allows us to debate amongst ourselves, and sometimes it gets so emotional and everything else. The essence of the legislature is not that, it's the work that is done by the committees. We visit projects, call departments, municipalities. If we were told about possibility of corruption elsewhere, we call IG, Auditor General, we sit with him, we engage and say, what is the state of affairs here? That's the gist of the work of Parliament and the provincial legislatures, including this one of ours. And that work is done by the honorable members. Many of them are not here, couldn't make it, in terms of their respective portfolio committees. So for those who are here, supposedly including myself in the process, let's thank them, let's give them a round of applause. In the gallery is Honorable Kaukau and Honorable Khatev. As I said, Honorable Makesini was here from EFF, Honorable Lento was also here, and they had to leave. Lastly, it is never easy. And my observation today is that I was looking at organizers every time when they have to come and brief the Speaker and us, and then we will engage with, hey, they want to collapse it, how do we manage it? It's not in the best interest of us and them, because we want them to emerge with tangible resolutions that are going to foster their very own development and the development of their province. And on their behalf, we want to go and hold the executive accountable about the matters of youth development. So our organizers have done a sterling work to ensure that, and me and the Speaker, when we demanded a briefing, we told her, hey, from the first preparatory meeting, it was not easy. And then we said, Speaker, it's fine. We'll relook into the process. You are going to have to deploy at least one amongst the politicians or political leadership to be part of the preparations throughout, so that on your behalf, we're able to unlock certain things, so that the organizers must not run helter and skelter. And somebody can be there and take decisions on your behalf to facilitate the process. But with our absence, their work was certainly not easy. And that's why the special thanks to them for ensuring that all the years were able to deliver successful and progressive youth parliament, which of course will be measured in terms of the content, the outcomes of your discussions as the things that the executive has got to respond to. So Dr. Tabiso and the team, we are indebted to you. We really want to thank you for the good work. And everybody else that we did not mention standing here, in whichever way that they've contributed, we really appreciate on your behalf and want to thank everybody. Let's give a broad and general round of applause for everybody. And lastly, not this speaker, this speaker. My task is done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Thabo Meko, Youth and Dala. That actually takes us to, that was the last point of our youth parliament sitting. And for myself, as the speaker of the day, I really want to say that in everything that we do, we must not forget that we represent different constituencies, and that people at some point, they went out in the streets, some were arrested, some were killed. For us to have a seat at this table, we must use this opportunity wisely. Even if we differ ideologically, it must to ensure that we come with creative ideas to change the lives of other young people who are not so fortunate to attend such events. We must not play with this opportunity. But also I would like to say thank you for everyone who participated in today's sitting, honorable members. You made great submissions, and as you had seen that I was writing on my notebook here, while each and every one of you were speaking here, I was taking my notes. I was taking things that I could take that were very important from different speeches and submissions that I'm also going to do research on when I get home, so that I learn more and understand challenges of young people even more. And I saw that the office of the Premier was represented here by Metsolopele Mbalo, and I saw that she was taking also her notes. And I just want to say, Ms. Annelies Fuba, that you must hold the executive accountable. The lives of young people are not something to toy with or to play with. In whatever that they do, they must make sure that this country has a future, that all these generations that are going to come after them have a place that they call home. And hopefully that place will be a better South Africa, which is not, the unemployment rate is lower, the poverty levels are lower, and the inequality levels are so not widened. And the gender-based violence and femicide meted against both men and women, the statistics are not so high. For myself, I just want to say thank you very much for affording me this opportunity to be the chair of this session, and to my co-chair, Honorable Mabaso there, thank you very much to also for your assistance during the deliberations and the speeches. Honorable Sifuba, we are at this table. We don't want a plate at this table. We want the whole kitchen with the pots and the ingredients and the stove. It is our table, and we are here, we're not going anywhere. So I believe that this was not a favor, but it's something that had to be done. So we want that whole kitchen with everything inside of it, and we are going to make sure that we disrupt the status quo in our different activism life that we engage on our daily basis. Thank you very much. This parliament is closed. Yeah, you can show up.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes.
Oh, can I know about what's up? For the submissions.
Oh, this one was. What about these two? Yeah.